We have a climber on a single pitch who needs help coming down, but that climber is very light compared to the belayer. How does that become a problem? Hello, I'm Jason. The last 2 weeks, we've ascended a rope to get to a climber midway up the wall, and we've captured that climber's end of the rope and descended with them. This procedure is called the pick-off, and it's a standard of self-rescue in single-pitch situations. We have links to those 2 videos in this video's description. If the difference in weight between the climber and the belayer is large enough, the belayer can't ascend the rope because the climber isn't big enough to counterbalance the weight. While we normally worry about a light belayer and heavy climber, this rescue issue shows up anytime there is a large weight difference between a light climber and heavy belayer. So how much weight difference do we need to create a problem? Here's some good news. It's a lot. Most carabiners are around 50% efficient, so as we get the climber weighing around half of the belayer, we near the problem. Here's 20 pounds, roughly 9 kilograms, balancing a 40 pound or 18 kilogram weight. Here we are using a typical D-shaped carabiner like we'd have on a quick draw. So imagine a lighter climber taking a lead fall and ending up below their last piece of protection. We don't want to get too close to that weight balance, however. Here's 18 pounds instead of 20 pounds. So we've gone from 50% of the balancing weight to 45%. So 50% is truly right on the edge. That 50% figure is really dependent upon other factors, though. For example, lighter adult or teenage climbers will often be leading, but with younger kids, we will often be top roping. In this case, the issue with friction on the carabiner may be worse because it's not unusual to see round stock carabiners as top rope anchors. Well, those round stock carabiners reduce the friction, same 20 and 40 pounds, but they no longer counterbalance. We can mitigate this, however, by using 2 carabiners, which is often a standard practice. Of course, that works with D-shaped carabiners to the point where that 45% of belayer weight is holding. Imagine using 2 draws to make a quick top rope anchor. But you can also see the friction at least improving when we have 2 carabiners, but still with rounded stock. If we are trying to assess if we are going to have this light climber risk, though, we have other things to consider that impact that risk. What rope are we using? An older, fuzzier rope can increase the friction. Here's that same rounded stock carabiner that didn't let a 50% weight difference hold, now holding. However, the opposite is also true. If we are using a new rope, we could have less friction. See how fast this 50% difference moves out of balance? So our setup matters. What type of carabiners? What type of rope? But we also have to consider the terrain. If the rope is hanging vertically, we are going to get more friction. Lower angle terrain is often the type of terrain we take young kids to. Well, that takes some of the weight off the rope. Same 50% weight difference, same D-shaped carabiner that held the weight before, but now the 20-pound weight is being dragged up. My point is that the 50% weight difference isn't a hard and fast rule. Near that weight difference, we may find ourselves unable to do a counterbalanced rope ascension. Next week, we will get into what I think is the minimum of knowledge we need to get help if we find ourselves with this lighter climber problem, if we don't have people right next to us to immediately assist. Have you climbed with a partner with whom you have a large weight difference? Tell us your circumstance in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share if you want to support us. For more information, you can go to our website at www.shortguysbetaworks.com. You can watch last week's video on the standard pickoff process of transitioning from ascending to lowering when our weight difference is close enough, or you can check out this entire single pitch rescue series as we add to it in each of the coming weeks. We'll see you next week and keep on getting more out of that big outside.